Hi everybody, Dan Ilman, Matt Bernier, the DRFBets race of the day for Wednesday, June the 13th, race number 7 at beautiful Belmont Park. Let's take a look at this field of New York-bred entry-level filly and mare sprinters. It's a really interesting field, and you can download free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page on DRF.com. Download them, handicap along with us. Matt and I are going to take this field in post-position order, beginning with the number 1 Frosty Gal, riding a 9-race losing streak into Thursday's race of the day. But she is making her 3rd start of the form cycle, and she ran well 3rd off the bench last form cycle. She's kind of been in against some runaway winners, which makes me think some of those lines aren't as bad as they look on paper.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think it also is worth noting, though, it just feels like she's been stuck at this level for so long. You brought up that long, prolonged losing streak. I can't help but notice it's in this state-bred non-winners of one other than condition. I do wonder if we're getting to a point now through 12 lifetime starts, she only has 1 win. Does she need a little bit softer to shine?
The number 2, Velvet Trini, is 0 for 5 against winners, and she has lost ground from the stretch call to the wire in each and every one of those races. One good thing about this filly is she is fast, but I have a feeling she might face some company on the lead.
Yeah, that's the biggest concern. I agree with you. She's got a little bit of speed. She's slow on figures, but the other problem for her, if you did like her, there's other speed drawn to the outside. I think there's going to be a very honest pace, if not outright fast. And unfortunately for her, she might be in a really tough spot down on the inside.
The number 3, By Self, is your 2-to-1 morning line favorite with Jose Ortiz aboard. Her trainer, Rick Violette, excels with first-time starters, and By Self added to those gaudy stats with a 9-to-2 win way back in October, earning an 80 Beyer speed figure as a 2-year-old. That is a number faster than any of these other horses have ever earned at any age. Here's the problem. When a nice 2-year-old wins like that, they usually don't go to the bench for this long a period of time. How do you view By Self off the layoff?
Well, like you say, I mean, that debut effort, if she runs that, that's faster than anything anybody else in this field's capable of running. So she would probably be, I think she's the most likely winner, but you have to factor in that long layoff. Violet's numbers aren't particularly strong off of a 180 or greater long day layoff, which is a little bit concerning, but I suppose it is nice to note that the runner-up that day, Miss Hotstone, she won, broke her maiden in her next start with a 75 Beyer. I think she's the most likely winner, but I think I would just probably let the price be your guide. If she goes off in that even money 6-to-5 range, I think you'd have to think long and hard before taking that.
Well, I think you said a mouthful right there. Even at the 2-to-1 morning line, I would have to think long and hard about taking her. I think she's more worth it at 5-to-2 or 3. Maybe you could sort of treat her as a first-time starter again off this long layoff. And if that's the case, then you have to love Violette with those sort of horses. The number 4, Puffery, has a negative formulator fact for a fantastic trainer in Mark Henning. Let's take a look. Over the past 5 years, with older dirt runners adding blinkers, Henning is only 1 for 32 with a 35-cent ROI. That being said, I think you can make a case for this filly.
Certainly. I mean, if you just look at what she's done, she's so lightly raced, you make a little bit of an equipment change. And from a figure standpoint, compared to the rest of this field, it's not as though she's entirely just impossible on paper. She's a little bit slow, but if you think there's a forward move, I know that most recent start, you had a next out winner with the runner-up. She earned a 69 in the next start. The winner came back and earned a 72 in her next start. If you think off this little bit of a layoff, the blinkers, the equipment change is enough to wake her up and shake her up a little bit. I don't think she'll be outrun. I think she can get a nice little sort of tactical trip in here, just a few lengths off of it. I don't think she's impossible, but that is a tough formulator fact.
She has 2 bad races on her card. Both of them came on wet tracks. Something tells me she hates wet tracks and just draw lines through both of those races. Then you have her debut where she gets beat by a Pletcher horse, Pure Silver, who I believe came back to be a graded stakes winner as a 2-year-old. Then you've got that runaway win by 5 3/4 lengths, and then you got the last out effort against those 2 quality horses that you mentioned. Puffery may be off this little freshening, as you mentioned. The blinkers on. It's a tough formulator fact, but I think she can pull the right trip. The 5 is Downtown at Noon, and this barn has gotten this filly good in her last 2 races, a runner-up in a maiden effort, and then last time out, scoring over a sloppy track. It's a big step up first time against winners, but it was nice to see her pair those solid 64 Beyers.
Yeah, and now she's going to have to take on winners for the first time. But like you say, I usually like to look for paired up Beyers, particularly both of them coming off of a layoff. So I wonder if you do get a forward move here. I can't help but note, though, it seems like, although marginally, I think her best races have come on ground with some moisture. And if she doesn't get that on Wednesday, I think she might be up against it in this spot.
I think you have to respect the rider switch on the 6, Rachel's Blue Moon, from the solid journeyman Mike Luzzi to the Hall of Famer John Velasquez. Plus, you're getting a very high percentage barn, adding blinkers. What do you think of this turf to dirt move? The win came on turf, but I thought she ran just fine when just behind Puffery on dirt.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder if really that's what Jerkins is taking a look at now, where that most recent run on turf didn't work out. The debut, okay, she broke her maiden on grass, so perhaps they wanted to try to get her back to that. I wonder if she's more of a dirt horse than a turf horse, although her only victory thus far has come on the grass. And I can't help but note the blinkers on, and you go through and look at her overall work tab throughout her career. You can do that in Formulator and add in all the career workouts. All of a sudden, she's always been sort of a slowish half-mile worker, and then all of a sudden, bang, she cracks out 48-4, the best of 26 bullet there most recently on June the 7th. I don't know for certain that the blinkers were on, but I'm making a bit of an educated guess. And if that's the case, maybe she's going to show a little bit more speed.
Trainer Mitch Friedman's done a really nice job with the number 7, My Roxy Girl. This is a reformed claimer who's finished first or second in her last 5 starts, including in 2 stakes races. My issue with Roxy Girl is twofold. 1, she likes to finish second, 7 times of 15 in her career. And 2, she seems to run to the level of the competition, whether it's at this optional non-winners of 1 level or those stakes tries.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that wholeheartedly. You go through and look at those victories. You had a maiden 50 score, a claiming 50 score, as well as the starter allowance. It seems like when she gets to this level, she'll run competitively, but not well enough to get over the top. To me, I would use her underneath.
Taylor's The Boss makes her second start of the year for trainer Steve Asmussen. Last time out, caught a wet track. She didn't run well in her debut over a muddy track. I think you can give her that race. And the time before that in the Key Cent Stakes, maybe she was in a little bit too tough. Perhaps she's dirtied up just a bit.
Yeah, I mean, if you really believe that you can get back to what she did when she broke her maiden second lifetime start, if you think you're going to get that forwardly placed sort of style, if you think you're going to get a more respectable or more representative effort from her here on Wednesday, I think she's far from impossible. Again, lightly raced. No reason to think that you're not going to get a forward move in the second start off the bench.
I think the 9 Strawberry Tequila has an outside chance for the high percentage trainer Jeremiah Engelhardt. This one is removing blinkers. Last time out she was in against open starter allowance foes, and she chased a quick pace according to the Timeform U.S. pace figures early. The 4th place finisher came back to earn a 69 Buyers speed figure. When you go back to her races against New York breds when she was under the tutelage of Bruce Brown, she ran some very competitive figures. I wonder if maybe she needs these stake breds.
Yeah, I agree with that. You go back to those runs in early 2018. Those are very competitive, and they make her a key player in here. I'm going to be interested to see where she's positioned with the blinkers coming off, because it seems like I like the fact that she had a little bit of tactical speed. I wonder if this is sort of a concerted effort to get her to relax a little bit more, take the blinkers off.
The Timeform U.S. pace projector believes that the fractions will be solid to hot, as you see by that red bar, and they have the number 10, Ribbonite, second star off the Danny Gargan claim, as the expected pace setter off the 2, Velvet Trini. While the pace is hot, Velvet Trini has not shown a lot of stamina in her career. That could actually be a very nice spot for Ribbonite, a horse that was on the lead in her first start off the claim. And I have to admit, I was a little bit disappointed with the way she gave way late.
Yeah, and especially because she took money in there, and you just usually figure Danny Gargan off the claim, they're going to get bet and they're going to run well. I suppose if you want to allay any of the fears that, okay, she was bad last time, maybe she's going to be bad again here. Gargan past 4 years dirt, second after the claim. Sprint races in Naira, 12 for 29 with a 223 ROI. I agree with you, though. My bigger concern is she just seems to always have a little bit of a problem at the end. The stamina isn't there, and that to me is a major concern.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the DRFBets Wednesday race of the day. You're going with the 6, Rachel's Blue Moon. She's 8-1 on the morning line, and she's really upwardly mobile.
And I think that's a very fair number on her. I don't think I would take too much less than that, maybe in that 6-1 range. But I kind of like the fact that that one dirt race from her, far from a disaster. She wasn't totally embarrassed. The blinkers going on, and again, I know I'm going on a little bit of a limb here, but I can't help but note that that's all of a sudden precedes or kind of coincides with a bullet workout when she had been sort of a more pedestrian worker in the morning from a timing standpoint. And you get Velasquez aboard. Like I said, 8-1. I don't know I would take much less than that, but anywhere in that 6-1 range, I'd play her.
The layoff worries me with the 3 by self. I am going to treat her, though, as sort of a first-time starter for Violette off this kind of a layup. It's almost like a complete reboot, and she ran so well in her debut that I want to give her a chance. I just don't think much about the rest of this field. 2-1 to me is just way too short. I would need 5-2, 3, 7-2. So for me, this is a spread race and a multiple race wager. I would use the 3 by self, the 4 puffery, and Matt's top selection, the 6, Rachel's Blue Moon. Approximate post time for race number 7, the DRFBets Wednesday race of the day, 4:46 Eastern. Good luck.